In tonight's Tax Insider, tracking tax evaders. The Internal Revenue Service has seen an increase in the number of unresolved collection cases by 20%. Why is the agency having problems going after the money? Joining me with the answers is Jay McTigue, Director of Tax Issues with the GAO's Strategic Issues Team. Well, Jay, the IRS uses an automated collection system, or ACS, to determine which cases to investigate based on the agency's priorities. Tell me more how it works.
That's right, Morris. Actually, the ACS, the Automated Collection System, is one component of the collection program at IRS. It's a very efficient, very automated process. And in fiscal year 2014, the system resolved over 3.5 million cases, bringing in an additional $6.2 billion in tax revenue. And this is a very important point because, as you know, the tax system relies heavily on the voluntary compliance of taxpayers, and it's the IRS's mission to provide quality services to taxpayers to help them meet their tax obligation and enforce compliance with the tax laws in a fair and equitable manner.
Now, Jay, are these scofflaws individual taxpayers or businesses?
It's a mix, both individuals and businesses. Typically, with the ACS system, individuals are a little easier to get into compliance, and that primarily has to do with the fact that those cases are more straightforward, and the IRS has more tools to bring to bear on individuals within its control.
Now, the GAO was asked to review the ACS process and identified three main problems: a lack of objectives, specifically when it comes to fairness, issues with case prioritization, and inadequate evaluation methods. Which of these problems is the most concerning?
The area that we found most troubling was the lack of program objectives. As I mentioned earlier, one of the IRS's mission is, or a component of the IRS mission is to enforce the tax laws with fairness and integrity for all. And that fairness issue has been called into question recently, and so the Congress asked us to look broadly across IRS to see whether or not there were any issues in the way IRS goes about selecting taxpayers for audit or collection. And the management of any program comes down to having good management controls. First and foremost is having program objectives that are clearly articulated so everyone from the ground floor through management understands what those objectives are and can work toward those through their policies, procedures, practices, and monitoring of the activities. Otherwise, it's unclear whether the agency, whether the program is meeting those objectives, whether it's fairness, whether it's collecting the most money, whether it's going after all taxpayers equally. A number of people that we talked to that run the program and work the program had a very good understanding of what fairness is. However, everyone, like any topic, they had slightly different views of what fairness is and how to implement that to ensure, as I said earlier, that taxpayers are treated fairly and with integrity. So what we call for is that IRS articulate and communicate the objectives of the program so that everyone is on the same page working toward the same goal and objectives, and also come up with a working definition of fairness, again, so that everyone is working toward the same objective.
Jay, Congress asked the GAO to review this system. How did it react? How did they react on Capitol Hill?
Oh, Congress has been very interested across the board in terms of how IRS goes about selecting cases for examination and collection.
Well, particularly with the lowest learner case, that was in the news this past year, so I'm sure that Congress is very interested, but still, they've got to get the money coming into the federal treasury and you move, with politics aside, right?
That's absolutely true. IRS brings in the bulk of federal revenue that funds the rest of government. Congress has been very interested in this issue. I testified back in July, hearing with the Government Oversight Committee, and we're working closely, looking at other programs as well. This is an issue that the Congress can play a role in terms of providing oversight, bringing IRS and holding them accountable. And IRS has been responsive to our recommendations. They generally agree with our recommendations and have plans to implement them.
All right, good luck on the project. Jay McTigue, Director of Tax Issues with the Government Accountability Office's Strategic Issues Team. Good luck to you, Jay.
Thank you, Morris.